I was having a drink.
And we're live.
Yes.
Well, I'm Anton.
And
He
I'm
is
Rusty B. After the U to the S to the S
DJ.
to the Y to the B.
He is so. He is so. How you doing, Rusty
Mhm.
boy? You well?
Yeah, very well, man. Very, very well. Yeah, very well. Had the pleasure of of being invited to an ex-player night tonight, which was very good with Mr. Julian Dix, Dean Ashton, Kenny Brown Jr., Waldy. Who else was there? Brian Deere, Eddie Bovington, Tony Gale. Yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. And Flo came along because Mrs. Budden was at Lakeside. So she sat there. We walked in and Reg went, and Gailey went, "Hello, Russ. Who's this?" This is Flo. Yeah, I said, "Don't worry, she's got headphones." He went, "Yeah, because it could get a bit blue." And I went, "Yeah, I know it could get a bit blue." But no, it's very good. Pie and do you know what? I quite liked pie and mash. I'm not a pie mash, don't like it, but I tried it today and it was quite nice. So it's very, very good, very, very good, man.
Good man.
And yes, yeah, I'm glad Premier League's back, man. I'm glad the Premier League
You
is back.
can say that again. I don't think you're the only one, though. To be honest, Russ, I think it's just I don't know what it is. I remember growing up as a kid and always kind of being excited about international football qualifiers, all that sort of stuff. But I think the way it's gone now, it's just you know, I know England are top in the league, but and it's no disrespect to all these countries, but it's Andorra, San Marino, and it's a little bit like when you talk about the Champions League. And listen, I'd love to be in the Champions League, but
Yep.
when you see some of the teams that are qualifying from other countries, and
Mm.
it is disrespecting them slightly, but I don't mean to be horrible about that. But when you start to see results like 7-8-0, you're starting to think to yourself, right, come on, you would then at that case rather clubs qualify by winning the domestic cups.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's one of those things where I think, it's the same true now as you said. It's like when you play San Marino, you know, it's not, you know, a lot of these smaller teams, you know, they're looking at maybe changing how they qualify. So you know, the smaller teams have to do like a pre-qualifying. So you know they're gonna play because it must not be fun for them as well. I mean, it's great. Obviously, they're playing England and whatnot, but you know they're gonna get turned over 6 or 7, 6-0, or Andorra was 5-0 or whatever, and it's just like, nah. And I just think they need to hurry up and just get and approve Arsene Wenger's idea of just having a month off and just getting all the internationals done because it just breaks up the rhythm, you know.
I
Not
think it's a
just
bloody good idea, though. I really do. I
yeah.
really do. And I wonder why they haven't, or are they considering it, but why they
I think
haven't done
I
it.
think they are now because I think Wenger's obviously the top boy, one of the top boys there now, isn't he? So it just makes sense because it just you just particularly, I mean, the way they always happen is at the beginning of August is like pretty much a couple of games in, that's it, you're off, and then like it's happened every month. And it's going to happen until obviously November as well. We've got an international break, and then it's sort of a little bit of get a bit of head of steam, but I just think it really just disrupts everything. It disrupts obviously the individual teams, the TV, us as well. You know, I mean, we're gonna, now it's gonna be literally people are gonna be effing sick of us coming up next, 5 games in 14 days with previews and reviews and watch-alongs, and oh yeah, it's gonna be
And the
mental. So
thing, and the thing is, Russ, I'm now committing that this is me. I'm home. I'm staying home for the foreseeable. So there's
that's
gonna
it.
be watch-alongs. There's gonna be content coming out of our ears. So yeah, it's. But I think what he suggested is a no-brainer for me, to be honest, because what it
Yeah,
might do is it might bring the love back for qualifiers again, and having that kind of solid month of the players playing, and then you can then just concentrate on the league. And because I think is it 4 weeks from now they go away again?
yeah,
That's them
November.
away
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, November
Yes,
again, and it's
we have
like
we have a crazy back end of August, of October, and then yeah, a bit of November, and then it sort of all happens again. It's like, well,
yeah,
what's the point? You know, it just disrupts everything. And I think if you had like a international month, a bit similar to how we all sort of club together for as a nation for all the sort of the Euros and stuff like that. It brings a little bit of that mentality. I know they were looking at doing maybe a World Cup every 2 years, but you wouldn't need to if you had like a month which was just international month. people would probably get into it a little bit more, rather than. I mean, I'm looking in the chat and was like, "Oh, it's shit! Oh, I hate it." That's what happens, and it's just really frustrating because I just think. Well, on the flip side, if you're having if you're not, if a bit of, just to allude to what we might be talking later on in a bit, if you're not having a good run of form, a little international break ain't bad. Get a few, good games under your belt, come back with a bit of confidence. Or if you've got an injury, having a little bit of a rest as well, that helps. So
It does, but I think I am ready for this a new thing because I want to enjoy international football again. This
yeah,
show's not about international football, but I want to be able to enjoy it because I remember growing up enjoying it. And this particular international break happens every single time, every year around my birthday. It always sits on my birthday. Don't have a memory of us really playing on my birthday because of that. I've always had to go before or go after, and I would love to be able to go to a West Ham game and celebrate it on my birthday, but it just never happens. It's always the qualifiers of some competition, and it's usually against the likes of, no disrespect, Andorra and San Marino that we play as well in the
yeah,
qualifiers
yeah,
on my
yeah.
birthday. So it's like you kind of turn it up. You are expecting at that point.
Well, it
What
shows
what
you
what?
also the mentality of us as well as a club in that you've got I mean there was obviously everyone was happy, great that Antonio was in the international scene, and obviously this one he hasn't decided to go with it, and so that's the thing, Anton's just rearranging his house at the moment as we were talking. But I mean Antonio, for example, he just didn't, the logistics weren't all right in terms of COVID and stuff like that and travel, so he hasn't travelled. So then you're thinking, well, what's the fucking point of him being an international? It's like, what's the point of then, becoming part of an international setup? Same as Soufal, obviously had a thigh strain or whatever it was, an injury, so he hasn't travelled. Ben Rama didn't have many minutes. Fornals hasn't had many minutes, despite travelling. Obviously, Dex played 90 minutes. Soucek's played 180 minutes. Fabianski managed to get his last game of 30 odd minutes and stuff. So I just find it and it's like I was talking to someone the other day. It might have been Brian Dean's interview, and I was just asking, what does everyone do? Because like half the team's not there.
Just say that to him.
Yeah, and
he
he
kind
went,
of he looked at you a bit like, "What do you mean? What do we do?" He said,
"What do you do?
"But
Like, half the team's not there. You can't play keepy up it.
yeah,
It's like you can't
yeah,
just play head tennis for 2 weeks." But yeah, it's just And I think I read today about the South American teams. There wasn't it the Premier League teams, the South American players all like shared a flight back because to get back in time. So they chartered their own flight to get back in time, and guaranteed one was going to come down with COVID, and then they've all about 80, nice 10-hour flight. Oh, it's it just seems pointless in this world. It's to just travel all over every month. It just seems ridiculous.
yeah. It
Absolutely
does
ridiculous.
absolutely. You can say that again. So shall we tell people why we're here and what we're going to do?
Yeah, why not? Why
Shall
not?
we? Shall
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
So, I know DJ Russie B is the place to be, giving you content daily. Yeah, there you go. There's my rap for you. There's
Yeah,
my rap for you,
Pete should
Peachy.
be happy. Yes,
Peachy.
yes, yes. Go on, Boo Boy.
Well, it's going to be.
Walk on.
We're going to engage with the chat as much as we possibly can. But people have been going on a lot about the Rice and Soucek situation at West Ham. Who's benefiting from it? Are West Ham benefiting from it? We're not really seeing the best of Soucek, but we're seeing more forward thinking of Declan Rice. So nothing. The only thing that's changed for Declan Rice has been his forward attack. But he's still performing at the back. But that's having potentially a detrimental effect on the two players. So I've got a little bit of a spiel, and then I think we're going to put it out to the chat. Am I right?
Yeah.
Are we doing this?
Yeah. We're doing this. This is Friday. It's the late mass debate.
The late. By the way, I meant to text you the other day. I meant to text you. Do you know what you're saying when you say that?
Of course, I bloody do.
But the other day, I don't know if you did. Did you know you were? Did you?
Of course, I know
I was
what
going
I'm
to
doing.
text you, and I was like,
of
okay.
course, I know what I'm doing.
Late mass debate.
You and me are just having a late night mass debate on a Friday night. We're just going to be masturbating with the chat as much as possible. Feel free to come on and masturbate with us.
Absolutely.
More than happy.
Absolutely.
More than happy.
So,
It's the 21st century.
yeah, absolutely. So here we go. I'll give you a little bit of my spiel. So if two
Go
players
for it.
deserve to be above criticism at West Ham, it is Declan Rice and Tommy Soucek. Rice and potato salad, but there is an uncomfortable truth about the feelings of the new dynamic between the duo. The defeat to Brentford saw frustrations among West Ham fans come to the surface on a topic that has been somewhat brushed under the carpet so far this season. And let's be honest, it was evident yet again against Brentford as Soucek looked a shadow of the Hammer of the Year player that he's been since signing for West Ham. Moyes admitted after the defeat that Soucek has been struggling to play his natural game due to Rice's new attacking role. Some fans have put it down to fatigue, but is there much more to it than that? It's not just the fact that goals have dried up, but Soucek has really looked lackadaisical this season. But why?
Mm,
While Rice is clearly more than capable of adding goals and assists to his games, do we think it could actually be to the detriment of the team sometimes? Many will point to Rice's goals in the Europa League and his assist in the winner against Leeds as examples of how his freedom to burst forward has benefited West Ham, and rightly so. He has the ability, he has that ability and agility to pull that off. But there is a clear difference between how the new tactic is benefiting West Ham and what it is taking away from Moyes' side. Rice is West Ham's key defensive midfielder, and a desire to push forward could be seen by others as being a negative approach. Rice is absolutely pivotal in that defensive role. He has the power, speed, mobility to do the work of two players in there. He breaks the press, springs counter attacks like no other defensive midfielder in the Premier League, and you could go as far as saying
mm,
Europe. Soucek is a good defensive midfielder, but his natural game is to be box to box man. He picks up the ball, feeds it wide or forward, and then he continues his runs, often perfectly timed, to get up and support the attacks. He is nowhere near as good as Rice on the deck defensively, but he is streaks ahead of the midfield teammate at the other end of the pitch.
mm,
So Soucek was West Ham's Hammer of the Year last season for a reason, and he was the team's most important, influential player. He was also top 10 Premier League player statistically last season. Not many players in West Ham's Premier League career
mm,
can add to that. He set a top flight record for aerial duels won, a new top flight record for distance covered. He stopped goodness knows how many goals with defensive headers and blocks, scored 10 Premier League goals and had one assist. And he looked a threat in every single set piece and almost in every attack last season. But this season, as we know, Soucek does look very different. But for whose benefit is this? There you go. There you go, DJ Russie B. There's a you like that. You
Wow.
like that.
Unpack that. Unpack that. Do you
Unpack
know
that.
it was interesting. As I did your thing the other today, your what's it called,
Presser.
the press conference, and there's a couple. I'm just downloading a couple of slides because a couple of them are quite interesting in that in terms of in terms of um just Moyes' attitude towards it, because obviously we know he's had criticism, and actually tonight it was quite funny. I was talking sound like such a tosser sometimes, but
There you go. I was
I was
talking to
talking to
Tony.
Tony Gale. I was talking to Tony Gale about Soucek, and and there's no denying what a fantastic player he is, and there's no denying that at all. Um, and that's what he just said. He looks a bit leggy, and I think thinking about it, when you talk to these, you look at how much that him and Declan Rice have both played, and Soufal to some extent, because obviously, we forget in they didn't have much of a pre-season, it's break. They had the Euros, particularly Deck as well, but they all had the Euros. And then even before then, the gap between last season and the previous season was very, very small because of COVID. So, they've almost played pretty much the whole, like almost 2-3 years practically straight, really. And where Declan is younger, arguably he has more of a he's slightly obviously he's about 6 years, 7 years younger than Soucek about 26, 27, isn't he? I think so.
Good
Something like
question.
that. I don't actually know who he is, but I just think he has a bit. He's looking a bit leggy at the moment, and I'm just sort of stalling for time. I'm waiting for things to upload. There we go. So this is what Moyes said today about Soucek in the press conference. Basically, they know he's a great player. Paraphrasing, no, he's a good player. Pushing him hard to get goals that he got last year because he was very good with his goals. I think he's been found out a little bit as well. I think people are knowing his weaknesses and his strengths, and clearly, and also a lot of those goals he scored were from set plays and set pieces, and that we haven't had the same influence as we had on our set plays that we did this year as last year, for example. I mean, he's still is top of all the running stats at the moment in terms of the Premier League, in terms of his average. I saw something today, and so it is about a case of just getting him into the box, and maybe just things aren't falling to him which they fell last time. But when someone pressed him and asked him a question about the dynamic between Declan Rice and Soucek, and he said, he basically wants them both to get 10 goals or more this season. So, they both have different abilities. Deck is obviously more of a technical player in terms of shooting ability. Thomas has got the sort of the aerial threat. And he did say something about him. Where was it on this one? He said in the second paragraph, we like his work ethic, we like it back, and we are now saying we want him to get back. Now, get back in terms of, no one asked that question, get back in terms of his old self, or get back in terms of defensively get back? I don't know.
See, I think it's got to be the first one there, because realistically, for me, what we're seeing now is a Declan Rice moving so far forward on a regular occasion. The amount of times he carries the ball forward for West Ham in the Premier League, in the Carabao Cup, or whatever game he's played in Europa League, he is carrying that ball forward. And what we're seeing is Soucek sitting in and protecting, which is what we were used to seeing last season when Decker's made a move forward. The difference is we're seeing a lot more of Decker's doing it. That's not, this is not us just making up the numbers. It's a physical fact. I wish I had the numbers right now about the amount of times that he attacks the attacking opposition box, but he is doing it a lot more than what he did last season, which is then forcing the hand of Soucek to sit back, where last season it was you had the confidence that if Soucek went forward, Rice would sit. If Rice went forward, Soucek would sit, but they would swap and do that a lot more. But what you're actually noticing when Deckers has got the ball and moving forward a lot more, you're actually seeing the lackadaisical Soucek. He looks a bit like lost. He looks like a little bit like a lost puppy, because Russie runs so much, he's involved so much, and the minute he's not involved, he's a bit like, what do I do?
Yeah, I think partly, I think the reason Deck's getting more is going forward. I think he's getting more space because I think people are keeping an eye. I think people know what Soucek does. They know he breaks in. Last year he was breaking into the box quite late as well, and I think they found him out a little bit. I think that, and it's given Deck a bit more space. I totally agree. Deck seems to be trying to. I think Soucek has always had that sort of like, it's not being nasty, but that sort of vacant look. He's always looked quite vacant, but usually you don't tend to, because he was scoring goals. You sort of went, oh, okay, brilliant. As I said, we know where his strengths and his weaknesses are. As I said, Deck is more technical. He's got more range of passing. He can. I wouldn't imagine Soucek would be a person who would, beat two men and do one of those marauding runs into the box like Declan Rice does. But I think maybe Deck's getting a bit more joy out of going forward. And I just think, it's not. I mean, it's not panic stations at all. But there's something which isn't clicking at the moment, is it? It's just not clicking the way it was last season. Maybe someone made a point at the lunchtime show. Maybe because we're playing a back four, and with that back three, there was a little bit less reliability on those midfield two to do so much holding, because there was three at the back. I don't know.
Well, shall we give the people in the chat a chance to come and have a chat with us?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be there's some really good comments it looks like in the chat.
Yeah. So for the first time in my, we've done it before. I know Rush, you do it on a regular occasion. I'm going to put the link in the chat. So if you want to come in and have a chat with us and get your point across on the Rice and Soucek situation, also depending on the number of people that do join, just be prepared that it might be about 5 minutes or so just to get your point across. And if you are interested, I have put the link in the chat. So click that link, come and join us, come and have a chat and see what you think on the Rice and Soucek situation. What do you want to happen moving forward? We've got such a big game. We've got a huge game against Everton at the weekend. And, they're a pacey side, Russ. And we are going to be needing, and, I'm going to do the preview tomorrow night, but it doesn't matter. We can still talk about stuff. We're going, But, we're going to be needing all hands on deck.
Nah, literally.
Literally. And I just wonder if he might say to Deckers, Because I know Declan spoke out and said the following the statement, which was, "I want to get further forward. I want to
Yeah,
contribute to goals
yeah,
more."
yeah.
But you would surely to God rather Deckers just does what he does, which does go under the radar for a lot of other teams, all that sort of stuff. It's I don't know. I don't know.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Also, considering I know Declan's doing a lot more forward running and stuff like that. I've got some. I've got some. We'll talk about stat. I've got some stats in a bit. I've just found some stats.
Right,
Head
cool.
to head stats. So we'll do that. But I see Patrick's coming. Let's have a chat with Pat.
Should we bring Patrick on?
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Yes, big man.
How you doing, Patrick? You okay?
Yeah, hanging in there. Just trying to finish out the day at work.
Patrick, it's really nice to meet you. Where are you calling in from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, love that, mate. Love that quality, mate. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Cool, man. So, listen, what do you think from what we've said, then, Patrick?
Well, I think that Soucek really just needs to change up his game. I mean, everybody's figured him out. They've seen tape on him. They've watched what he does during set pieces. So if that means he's got to hold back and let Rice go ahead and take the set piece shots or go in for headers or whatever it is, then so be it. They just have to learn to adapt.
And I think someone made a point the other day, in that obviously he hasn't. I mean, Soucek. I mean, even during the internationals, he's had 2 games. He hasn't had any rest. He's been playing another. He played 2 back-to-back 90-minute games. When do you think, Patrick? When's it Kral's time? I
think Kral needs to play the full 90 this weekend. Soucek, he's got an engine, but they got to change the oil sometime.
But see, Patrick, do you think, like, when you think about West Ham and you think of David Moyes in particular, how he kind of embeds new players into this team, and because he's so reliant on the old guard, and it's not really the old guard, they're still the new guard, they're still the big boys, they're still the top dogs of West Ham, Soucek and Rice. But yes, I know we've got a player there. We've seen him play against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup, and he did play very well in the game. But do you think Moyes has got, it's not, is it the right word to say, the bollocks to make such a big call, when in actual fact you could be saying that there could be big calls to be made in the defence and potentially the goalkeeper as well?
I think so. Look what he did when he waited for Bowen. He waited for Benrahma. Who else? Other guys that he waited to bring on. Why not? He's changed. He's changed up when he thought he needed to, and he showed that he really is not going to let anybody tell him exactly how to run the club. Even freaking Gold and Sullivan. I mean, he's got them to kind of back off. So I think he definitely's got the balls to do it. So
yeah, I just find it. I think there's probably 3. He's got 3 big decisions. I know we're just concentrating on Soucek and Rice today, but Anton did a piece the other day about Ogbono or Diop or Areola and Fabianski. He's got some big decisions to make, and I know he's a very loyal manager, but as you said, I think sometimes the oil needs a bit of changing. We've had a great start to the season in retrospect. I think we were pretty much on the same points that we were last season. But it just seems, nothing seems to be clicking in the same way that he did last season. So I think there might need to be an oil change in some respects. But yeah,
I just think I do think, like, I also think that Soucek needs the rest and maybe the pressure taken off a little bit, because maybe he's not used to it. He's not used to this newfound positioning of West Ham. And something I was going to say was, time will maybe tell whether or not this will work, because what Moyes is doing is obviously investigating what else this team can do. And if you can get Declan Rice moving forward and getting goals and assists, and you can make that work alongside Soucek getting forward and getting goals and assists, then you've added something different to the middle of that park. A bit like what you said there, Russ, when he was talking about in his press conference, 10 goals from Soucek, 10 goals from Rice is ideally what you want. But the way that West Ham play and the way that West Ham have been playing last season, we've been so used to protecting that back four. And that, for me, is the main priority. I done a video the other day because I was saying that we're leaking goals again. Now, I'm not getting carried away with it, but we are leaking goals, and he will not be happy. And if you look at all the goals that were conceded against Brentford, you know, two, if not three of them, were errors that led to goals, really, and it was disappointing. And I feel like, I wonder if that's, I mean, I don't know if I'm making a big, bold statement here. Is that down to Patrick? Is that down to Declan Rice going further forward and Soucek not being in fifth gear, sixth gear, whatever you want to call it?
I wondered that too. I mean, you got to let the way that Rice has made his runs and shown that he can get forward, make the shots, score the goals. I mean, you got to let him do that. He's too good not to. I don't know. I wish I did.
Oh yeah, exactly. But the good thing is, I think where last year we hadn't have an alternative. Last year the alternative was Mark. Basically, well, it was Mark Noble was the alternative, and no one really wanted that as an alternative. You know,
what about changing the formation completely?
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Going to 4-3-3 or something.
See, then the issue. See, I've spoken about this as well, Patrick. I was talking about West Ham having the ability to go 5 at the back, and because we did a lot of that last season, we interchanged, and you know we made it work with 5, then we made it work with 4. But I always feel like Moyes will switch it to 5 when he feels it's necessary that he does, and I wouldn't be. I'm not. I mean, I know we're going to do the preview tomorrow, but you know, there's a tiny percentage of me that thinks that 5 could be the right answer tomorrow on Sunday against Everton, because of the pace that they have going forward, and because that we have. Let me get this right. Was it the Wolves and Leicester games last season that we changed it at the start of the season to 5 at the back, which is what projected us forward, you know, put us on this good trajectory that we've been on.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, like you said, Patrick, I wonder if it is the formation change, and that formation change may take the pressure off the middle of the park.
Or what if they put Král in with Soucek and Rice?
That's the thing, play a 3.
Why not?
Well, he did do that before, didn't he? He done that with Noble.
Yeah.
He brought Noble in, and they kind of done that kind of the triangle in the midfield, and they you know, they connected between each other. So whoever went further forward dropped back, and laterally in that, Mark Noble sat a bit further forward, didn't he? And he actually looked a bit better in that position.
Yeah,
but it's an interesting one because for me, it comes down to a mixture of balls, a mixture of looking at the circumstances, seeing who you're up against, and seeing, you know, how many other changes in the team can they do. The last question I want to ask you, Patrick, unless Russ has anything else, is what do you put the Soucek situation down to? What do you really think it is?
I actually think because the guy has played damn near 2 years straight without a real rest, I think it's just caught up with him. I mean, nobody can keep going that long and then just, I mean, I think he just needs a rest. So I think he hasn't, obviously, like people talked about with Felipe Anderson, he doesn't turn to crap overnight. He just needs a rest.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
And I mean, there's a player we could have a chat about how he's performing at Lazio right now.
Yeah,
He's looking deadly every single game I see him play.
I never wanted him gone.
Yeah, you know, and I'll put my name out there as well and say the same, Patrick. I said it. I you know, without boring people, I went up and I looked at the St Andrews training camp and watched them live, and he looked lively, and he was the one that was hitting the net the most. Yeah. And out of all the attackers, he looked like he was buzzing to either be back or buzzing that something was happening in the background that we didn't know about and that he knew about. So And yeah, I mean, like you said, rest is a good thing, and currently,
I agree
Soucek
with
and
Luke.
Rice, yeah.
Let's get Carlos Sanchez back. We need him.
All's been forgiven.
Absolutely, Patrick, mate, you've been a total legend. Thank you
Cheers,
so
Ledge,
much for
mate.
coming on.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Great man.
Yeah, I really appreciate it too, mate. Take it easy.
Top
Thanks
man.
for that. Cheers, mate.
Top boy.
Cool, man. Love it. Love it. Love getting your opinion. So if you are interested, the link is in the chat.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
we
gonna
need to
whack
put
it
that
back in. Yeah, I'll do
you're
it.
gonna
I'll
do
whack
that,
it
yeah.
back in the chat again.
So,
Interesting.
like I said, depending on the amount of people that want to come on, just expect it could be about 5 minutes or so. We've got someone else sitting in there, but they've disappeared.
Well, no, he's
disappeared.
not. He hides. He hides.
Right.
He's there. He's there.
So we bring.
Now we said 5 minutes. It takes him
got
5 minutes to introduce to say hello. So there we
Yeah.
go. There we go.
Yeah.
Go on, let's
Well,
try.
come on.
Let's try.
Well, listen. Before we do, people
Yeah.
are saying like, if you don't stress about, if you just come on and even have a make a point. If you don't want to come on, that's fine. But don't
Yeah,
feel
it's
like you have to
cool.
be drunk or whatever. Like, we'll just take it
Yeah.
easy. It's something a bit new. See what you think. But shall we?
Yeah.
So I'll let you do the introductions, Russ.
Yeah, I just want to address Luke, because Luke he would have come on, but he's upset because I'm wearing Lacoste today. When we get some old t-shirt he found in the cupboard, I thank you. That t-shirt is Untuck It, one of our sponsors. My t-shirts are, so yes. And as I said, I was schmoozing today. That's why I've had a top on. Anyway, yeah. So we'll introduce a guy. You all know who he is because you instantly know who he is because in the chat, you have to read it about 20 times because he puts asterisks, he puts dollar signs, he puts, capitals are in the middle of the words. It's P C E T A C C H. Mr. Peach. Hello.
Peachy boy.
There
Yo,
he is.
I can see myself. I can see you too. Anton and Rusty Beer in the building. Anton, Rusty Beer in the building. Antonio,
Told you 5
Rusty
minutes.
B in the place to be. Tigger. Yo, what are you saying, boys?
How you doing, Peachy boy? You
How you
well?
doing, mate?
Yo, you want to see a shirt, dog? You want to see a shirt? Thank you to Wally World, dog. Look at that, dog. With the
Toronto Hammers.
Canadian Maple Leaf. Like, yo, Toronto Hammer things, dog. Like, yo, real
Yeah, it's
thing.
nice, man. Like that.
Right, come on then, Peach. Let's talk about Rice and Soucek. Come on. Let's talk about
Okay,
Rice and Soucek. What are your
okay.
thoughts?
Now Pete has to get into like serious mode,
This
which
is
never
this
happens.
isn't
but I will.
lunchtime. This is serious. This is a serious mass debate.
I'm about it. I'm about it. I'm
Masturbate with
about it.
us.
Mass debate with
I'm
us.
about
Be
it.
serious.
I'm about it. I'm about it. I'm about it. Okay,
No
so
fluffing. Straight in with the masturbate. That's it.
okay. Try say that 5 times and see what happens when you say it the 5th time. Trust me. But yo, I'll show you. And Anton made that point still. Yo. I'll show you. Okay, so yo, Soucek needs to go to Boots and get some Viagra because I think he's having trouble with the misses. Honestly, I think that's what the whole problem is. He's not performing like in the bedroom, dog, and it's mucking up his it's mucking up his play
Maybe the
on
other
the
way,
football
Peach.
pitch.
Maybe he is. Maybe it's too much of that.
That's
He's
what I'm
tired.
saying. Dog. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, yo, I'd have Crawl and I'd have Rice. I
Ooh.
think it's time to put the French Connection together, where you got Areola, you got Zuma, you got Diop. You say triangle, I say diamond. I say diamond, you say triangle. But it's like, yo, why not? Like, why
But
not
listen,
have
Peach,
Zuma,
Peach.
Diop, and
But Peach,
Areola? It's
you know, being
funny.
the devil's advocate to that,
Yeah,
Moyes is known not to make drastic changes in one big
100.
Premier League
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I've suggested about the Areola, the Diop, and
Yeah.
potentially one of resting someone else, you know. But that's 3 big decisions, huge decisions that I'm not sure
Oh,
David Moyes will make
Frederick,
for the Everton game.
I got bigger decisions than that, dog. I'm talking about putting Masuaku in, and I'm talking about putting Ryan Fredericks in. Like, against Everton,
Oh, wow.
I saw
We're going all
Russ's
out.
show this morning, and everybody was saying draw. I want to say 3-1 to us. Titch said 3-1 to Everton. I think we'll nick it by 1 late goal. I really do, but I think we need pace. on either flank, like coming from the back with like Masuaku and your boy Fredericks there. Crawl, I want to see him play in the Premier League rather than the cup match, and I want to see Areola play in the Premier League rather than like Fabianski ain't put a foot wrong. Trust me, he has not put a foot wrong. I just want to see a change. You know what I mean?
There's a lot. I mean,
I got the size.
There's a lot. No, because I think I agree. There needs to be some sort of change, but it's like, and the thing is, I think the likelihood is it's Everton, isn't it? So it's Moyes' old background. It's his back.
Yeah.
It's his back route.
Yeah.
He knows he's his. Everton. It was his old club, and he'll want to get one over them. To be honest, and so he'll want to put out. I mean, as I said, for me, I think. Looking at the two, looking at them as a pair, they come as a pair. Soucek and Rice, it's potato salad and rice, and it's worked before. It's not like we're trying to force it. It's not like bloody Gerrard and Lampard in the FA in England where it never really worked. These two were the best, arguably the best midfield pairing in the Premier League last year.
I know, but why don't we try something new with like I was really impressed with Crawl when he played. Who was it against, Anton? Was it Man United? I think.
In the Carabao Cup.
Yeah. Like I'd give Crawl a go with Rice. Give Soucek a rest. Give him a prescription of Viagra. Maybe he'll come good. Like next match.
Peach, do you think that we as West Ham fans are potentially overreacting with the Rice and Soucek situation, and maybe there's just simply a period of adjustment that we need to get used to?
Yeah, that's well done, Anton. Yo, you should be on Sky Sports. Straight up, you should be on Sky Sports, dog. You're better than half of these dickheads on Sky Sports, man. But yeah, no, honestly, I think we're overreacting. And as you said before, I think people are kind of finding out his game a bit, but I think he got tricks up his sleeve. Don't doubt Soucek. I just think he needs a rest, honestly. Like, I really think he just needs a rest, man. And I'd like to see Crawl in there with Rice. Like I said, Masuaku and Fredericks, like at the back. Like I'm agreeing with the five at the back, no doubt about it. Antonio, wasn't that beautiful that he didn't like play for Jamaica in the internationals? I was so happy.
I think it was, man.
So happy. I was so happy. Like
it was cool. It was cool. It was good. As I said, it showed the club above country, and it was needed. I think it was needed. There was too much. It was the last game. I think they had to play Honduras. And it meant he would have had a day's rest before Everton. Plus, he would have to get over jet lag as well. So,
it was like 10,000 plus miles, Russ.
Yeah,
it was 10,000 plus miles. Like
mental.
Russ, yes. Did you have an oh my god tonight?
No, I didn't.
I'm disappointed.
You know what I had? Do you know what I had?
Go on.
This will shock a lot of people. Pie and mash.
Oh, I love it.
And I don't like pie mash, as you know. I don't like pie mash, but
it
was free. It was free, so that's why I had it. And Flo looked at me. She went, "Daddy, what's that green stuff?" And I went,
"That's the best stuff. That's the best stuff." Anton will agree with me on this, dog. And you know what? Even to like kick it down my hole, dog. Gatesy today, big up Gatesy. But Gatesy today made a video, sent it to me on WhatsApp of him going to the pie mash shop, getting 2 in 1. And I'm like, are you joking me? And the pie looks so delicious. And then he had the green liquor and oh my day. And they had the malt vinegar and the malt vinegar.
The jelly deals.
Was it proper liquor? Was it proper?
No, proper liquor. Proper liquor.
No,
and
right.
I was salivating. And I left him a message back and I was like, you bastard. I was like, yo, you know I can't get that here.
Look
Look
at
at doing that.
Peach,
Peachy.
we've got to have to
Peachy.
go, man.
Yeah, I was
Go
going to say we've got a big queue forming behind you, but before you
I know,
go,
who
you're
cares? Yo,
calling.
Keith's in the
You're,
building, dog. Who cares,
you're,
dog? Anton,
you're,
let me ask you two things, dog. Let me ask you two things.
go on.
What's your deal with like Rice and Soucek? Like, would you put Crawlin or maybe even Noble? Like, what would you run?
Oh man,
Or like
it's a tough
T,
one.
like Patrick
I'm not,
said, like.
I'm not used to people asking me questions. I usually ask all the questions.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
No, but
asking you
genuinely,
questions,
genuinely, I would stick with. I'm trying to think logically. I'm trying to think the way that Moyes will think, and I think that he will still stick with Rice and Soucek for Everton because they're the big dogs. They're the guys that have. You could go as far as saying carried West Ham a lot last season.
Definitely.
And it could just be a period of adjustment. Now, the difference is I would like to see some switch up in other competitions and other games. But equally, what I will say is I've got so much faith, and I mean this because Moyes has made me think like this. I've got so much faith in the squad that if Soucek was rested and Krall came in, then I would accept that because that's what Moyes wants to do. And I think the squad would accept that. I think Soucek would accept that because he's best mates with Krall and it's all kind of happy and there seems to be a good atmosphere in the squad and they would all be like, you know what, there you go, take the place, take the mantle. And that's what you want. You want strong competition.
Yeah,
just because you've got do you know what? At the end of the day, something else we need to consider is if Soucek hasn't been performing and he hasn't been performing for maybe a run of games, then that player, in theory, according to the old book of coaching, should be rested or dropped.
Yeah.
Therefore, someone should come in and place him.
You saw that firsthand in St. Andrews. Like, I remember, like, one of the most important things you said was, and I'll always remember this, like, and you had your whole family there, dog. And I'll always remember this. Like, you said they were training in like circles of one another, of pairs, and you saw Lanzini like training with the defensive midfielders and like all them things there. Like, no, trust me, man. I think Moyes wants to get a leg over on Everton, no doubt about it. Do I see changes? Yes. I'd love to see, like, I think, don't you think it's time for Areola to be given a go? Or no, like Russ and Anton, don't you think it's time for Areola to be given a go? Or am I just like in left field? Like,
maybe, but this is about Soucek and Rice, Peach, today. This is the mass debate.
I'm switching it, dog. I'm switching it.
I think maybe, man. I think maybe. But we've got loads of other people to talk to as well, Peach. We've got loads of people.
There ain't nobody like me, dog. Straight up. So big up the Bud Claps house. I love the both of you, man. It's always a pleasure. Like, this is like double trouble right here. That's double trouble right there, dog. And I mean double trouble, like, not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Respect yourselves, man.
Bad.
Big up yourselves.
Love you, Peach.
Good man. Take it easy, Peach. Good to speak to
you.
I never take it easy, dog. I either go hard or I don't go at all, dog. So, like,
go hard.
And we're gonna beat Everton. You watch, boys.
Right,
we're gonna beat Everton. Trust me. Big up everybody in the live chat. Big up these two, man. Kings, capital KINGS's. Yeah. Peace out.
Peace out, my G. Told you. 5 minutes. He didn't say hello in 5 minutes.
Well, we've got people in the queue, but the next one who's coming in is a regular on the channel, but he's not coming on visually. He just likes to land above us.
The voice.
It's audio only. So Lukey B is the place to be. What's happening, Luke?
How you doing, boys? All right.
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Are you all right? Where are you? You up there?
I'm in the Never Zone. What's the old Stranger Things place? I'm somewhere there. I don't know where I am. To be fair.
Are you with Stell? Are you with Stell on Squid Game Cyprus?
I wonder where it is.
Are you on the honeycomb thing?
Something like that. I'm going to watch it, but you're probably spoiling it for me.
Do you know what? I can't get my head around it. I'll be honest. Anyway, we'll go.
No, it's all right. I want to know where Peach gets his Wi-Fi from because he's always outside and he's always got.
He always gets it's always really good. This must be Canada.
It's better. I think it's better than all of our equipment put together. It's really good. Yeah, no, you're a legend, Peach. If you're still watching, absolutely legend. Lucky boy, come on, get your point across. What do you think?
Nice one, a bit rude, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit rude, wasn't it?
I'll cut to the chase as you like me to do.
Yes, it is. Sorry, quickly, it's the wallpaper man. Yes.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, as you well, I did put an avatar in my Facebook. Obviously, you can't bring it up, so it's just pointless me downloading.
Yeah, I don't know. Can we not do that? Can we not bring that in?
Yeah, you can. I'll carry on. You carry on, Luke. Go on,
Yeah,
I'll fix
Right.
for me, I think Rice is going. There's some. It might not be now. Here he is. Yeah, I know. It's all quite a joke. Let the chat get on with it. Yeah, that's fine. He's going, I think, within the next 2 years. And if we don't qualify in the top four, he's off. Whether it's to Man City, whether it's to Chelsea, he's off. And I think you can just sense the fact that he's been given a bigger role, and he's a guy that cleans up and goes forward and is brilliant and all that sort of stuff. But I think Soucek, people can say he's tired and everything like that, but it's almost like when he first hit the ground running at West Ham, he was brilliant, and then he got a slight link to Bayern Munich. And I think just after that, he was still playing well, still scoring goals and stuff like that. But after the Euro, even at the Euros, he didn't really Sir Fowler was on the wing and set up a great goal in the first game, but he wasn't really. The commentators kept saying, "Oh, they've had a fantastic season with West Ham. Him and Soucek, they're brilliant players." I thought, yeah, he's not scoring goals. He's not jumping in the box. He's not trying to score for Czech Republic. He seems like he's just put in the middle, like sort of Rice's his role is, and just cleaning up. But he's not really having the impact that he's having for West Ham. I thought, okay, maybe he is tired, maybe. But then when you remember when they first come to West Ham, and we were playing so many games because of COVID, and they were saying, "Oh, how do you like coming to the Premier League, and you're playing a game with it every 3 days?" He goes, "That's fine. We play a game every day if we could. We're loving being in the Premier League, and we're the fact that games are coming thick and fast is great for us. We're loving this, and it's fantastic." So I don't think the tiredness is probably anything to do with it, because don't forget we had a good start to the season. First couple of games, we hit the ground running, Newcastle away, Leicester at home and stuff. Yeah. I just think that Rice, we're definitely 100%, in my opinion, making more of an effort to make Rice the top man at the club, and they're saying, right, you're going to have more of a presence. Or it might even be Rice going, do you know what? If I'm going to be here, I want to be the main man. I'm the captain. Yeah. I want more of a midfield role. If I'm going to stay here, I've got to be, the top gun. And it's funny. I remember watching the Leeds game. I think I said to you guys that, or Anton or someone in the chat, that Soucek for me was terrible in the first half at Leeds away. And in the second half, he scored the goal that was disallowed, and he seemed to be putting himself about more. And I was like, okay, someone maybe Moyes had a word with him at half time. But since then, it's been like he's not been the guy that's just trying to sort of, make tackles and trying to intercept every pass that goes through midfield. I don't know what's up with him. That can, for me, it's the only conceivable reason is the fact that Rice has gone. It's either Rice saying, I want more of a bigger role, or it's the club going, look, Declan, if you stay here, we'll do this with you, we'll do that with you, don't worry about it, we've got it, mate, it's fine. But as much as Rice seems like a nice lad, when he goes to England, he's playing with the likes of Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish has been an Aston Villa boy since he's put boots on. Now he's just gone to Man City. I don't know if you saw the clip online, but there was a little argument between the both of them. They both made a tackle in training, and Grealish was like, "You fouled me there." And he goes, "No, I didn't. What are you on about?" And they made up, but it didn't seem like Grealish was really having it. And I'm just thinking, this is what Bilic said about Payet when he joined West Ham. He said Payet was a quiet bloke. Very, all the lads loved him and stuff like that. But he said, but he went to the Euros, and he's in a changing room with all the guys like Pogba at Man United, etc., and Griezmann at Atletico Madrid, who was looking to go to Barcelona and stuff like that. And then he come back, and then I think, like you've pointed out, Anton, there's been a number of times when West Ham have had the opportunity to invest properly in players, and they haven't done it. And when we moved to the Olympic Stadium, it wasn't the investment like there was in the last season of the Boleyn, and Payet left for whatever reason. I know people can say, there was rumours about an affair with another woman, or his wife wanted to go back to France and stuff like that. But at some point, if your player's that good, and if you get an offer, he's going. I don't look. I'm nothing against Rice. I've got nothing against him. It's a professional football. It's the way the business is.
It's career,
Yeah, just to pick up what you're saying, so would you potentially say then that maybe West Ham have listened to Declan Rice in terms of want to get forward? So in theory, what are you kind of suggesting, and I could be wrong with this, you suggesting that Moyes is kind of going, well, I want to make you happy, Deckers. So if that means that you go forward, then so be it.
In a way, yeah, because I think, look, there's egos in football. There's no doubt about it, and I'm not saying that Rice is an egomaniac. He doesn't come across like that at all. I think in the Euros, in my opinion, he was a bit underused because he used to get taken off by Soucek quite a lot, and he had that good partnership going with Calvin Phillips. But when you see it, neither of them went forward really, unless it was Rice in the second half going forward. And this season has kind of been much the same thing, where you've got Soucek. Almost, you don't even realise Soucek's on the field half the time this season. You don't even realise he's actually had an impact on the game at all, and it's really, really weird. And yeah, sorry, what were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, like to maybe add fuel to that fire where you're going with this conversation. If Rice is doing what he's doing, he's not doing it for the benefit of England, because when he plays for England, his sole responsibility is to do what he did for West Ham last season. So it's not like he's doing it to prove a point for Gareth Southgate to go, well, I'm going to get further forward, because England have got plenty of players that do that. So I'm only adding, I'm not saying I agree, I'm not saying I disagree, I'm just saying I'm adding fuel to the fire by saying he's not doing it for those reasons. So what is the kind of purpose?
It's a thing I think both of you agree. The whole fan base could probably agree on that. He's got everyone scratching their heads. It doesn't seem to be a genuine reason why. No one can go, well, this is the reason because of that happened, or this is the reason because they're not doing this now, or things go on behind closed doors of football clubs. You don't hear about till about 10 years later when they've retired or whatever, and you tell old stories. Little things go on. We just heard this week about Lingard coming out and talking about his time at West Ham. Noble saying phones away and stuff like that. They name me with respect. We're all passionate West Ham fans. We love to read every story that comes through Facebook or Twitter, all the rest of it. None of us could have known about what's going on with Noble unless we work within the team. But like I said, I've got nothing against it. It's just the only conceivable reason is the fact that we're trying to keep hold of Declan. We're giving him a bigger role because you have to give it. These players evolve and develop. When Rice first comes to the club, he was a centre back. Now he's a midfielder, and now he's talking about trying to score more goals. Well, as much as
that's a good point.
As much as Declan's a fantastic player, the only goal he scored from long range was against Watford about 2 years ago, and every time he does now, it doesn't really end up very well. And the one person who does score goals that really gets anywhere near it is Soucek. So I think in a way it's kind of Rice going, well, I've started off here. I like being in midfield. I like being a holding midfielder. I like being a midfielder. I like being an attacking midfielder. I like being a box. So it's kind of he's liked and evolved in every role he's been at West Ham, and in fact it's kind of like a lot of players in the team. Fornal's come in as a tricky winger and stuff like that, and he's been turned into an absolute workhorse. Now that for him has worked out because he's in the Spain squad and he's scoring goals for Spain. He did 3 weeks back. It was the other international break. But awesome. That aside of that, I don't rate Crowd at the moment. I didn't see second half performance against Man United. Apparently, it was very good. So hold my hands up. I haven't seen that yet. But I would personally put Fornals in Soucek's place. I think Soucek needs dropping. He just needs dropping. Nothing against him. He's just not performing. And when you're not performing, that's sometimes you have to send a message not only to the player but to the rest of the squad that you need to perform. Soucek for me had his worst game by far. Brentford, ironically after securing a contract. They don't seem as like ego players. Like they've got their contracts, they're happy now, so they're not going to play as well. They seem like they've got the best thoughts of the club and themselves, and so they're not going to be like throwing their toys at the Premier. I've got a contract now, so I'm not going to play very well. So I personally would make a change. For now, he's the perfect person for that role because he's a workhorse. He doesn't score goals. He plays sort of on the wing or attacking midfield, and it seems to be that him and Ben Rama kind of exchange when they're going forward. But you never really think to yourself, Fornals will get a goal today, because he doesn't really seem to get in those positions as much. He's always setting someone else up or making the run someone else. So why not put them two in the midfield and try and see how that goes? And then, if Stell's watching this, he'll probably throw his coffee at the screen because I'm going to say maybe put massive.
He'll be drinking ouzo. Don't worry this time, Luke. So don't worry.
But the thing is, though, when you look at the comparison from season on season, we are kind of, I think we're on level par with where we were at.
I think we are, bang on now
with last season. So things are kind of going in the direction that we want. It's just not. Go for it.
that is how far. Point to interrupt, but that is how far our standards have gone up because
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great
as we
point.
slightly drop our standards, we go, hold on, what's going on? This isn't right. And the funny thing was, I was saying to people a little while back that everyone's going, oh, when we play Man United, when we play Liverpool, when we play Chelsea, Moyes tends to go into his shell a bit. We give too much respect. I'm thinking, well, we got to in the top 6 last season because yes, okay, we've done that against the top sort of teams, but when we beat all the teams around us,
Yeah.
we beat the teams that we would normally beat. The classic West Ham is you beat Man United 1-0 at home one week and you go and lose to Southampton away on a cold Wednesday night 3-0. But we changed that last season, and that's how far we've come up. And now Brentford are a fantastic team, but it did highlight for me that we still struggle against teams that come to the London Stadium and play the away game, who waste time, who are a bit physical, who take their time with certain things, who frustrate our players because we're too honest. We're too honest as a team. We like to play the good football. We like to sort of get on with the game and try and please the fans almost. But we absolutely can't. Crystal Palace, we drew 2-2 because they knew exactly how to get into us, get a bit physical, waste time and stuff like that. The referees allowed them to do that. That's nothing we can do about that. That's just poor refereeing. But I love watching West Ham in a minute, and it's just a bit disappointing that the players that have made our progress so good are just not finding their feet. I don't know if there's anything against them. They might be injured a little bit, and because of our lack of squad depth, we're just trying to go. No, you got to play.
No, you're not injured, yeah.
Well, let's just the thing I made a comment about was let's just hope it's a period of adjustment really for West Ham and maybe this break will have done us a world of good because Decker's only played one game out of the 2 potential games. Soucek, I can't remember. Russ, you done a bit of a run down. Did he play the full games?
Yeah, two 90 minutes.
I mean,
yeah,
he's at the full works. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've done quite well out of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Game,
absolutely. Right, lucky boy, mate. We've got another couple of guests coming on, so thank you very much for joining us, fella.
Man.
Pleasure as always. I'll
Take
try and get
easy,
the camera out to you next time.
Yeah. Oh no, don't bother, mate.
You're right. Right.
Cheers to hear. Bye.
Cheers, Bob.
Bring on the next one.
Yeah, come on, is it Clivey boy on?
Absolutely, let's get him on. Mr. Clive, how you doing, mate?
Clive.
Okay?
Good evening, gents. How are you?
Oh, you sound lovely.
Oh, do I really?
Yeah, like you sound really like your mic's really cool, man. It sounds really nice, really nice.
Yeah, but Russ, have you not noticed anything, mate?
Good.
What's that?
Look at that cheeky picture behind him.
Look at that behind me. Yeah, that's the one.
There's the boy.
Love it. Marlon Aylward. Love a bit of Marlon.
Yeah.
Love a bit of Mazza.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta love it. So how are we, chaps?
Yeah, we're good.
Very
nice
well.
to see you. Yeah. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you on here rather than the supporters club. So it's good, man.
And nice to actually physically speak to you, Clive. I've not met you yet physically, so this is this is a bit of this is nice. I like this. This is good.
It's like friends reunited.
Yeah, isn't it?
Love
so, Clive,
that.
you've obviously heard what we've been discussing. Go for it, mate. What do you think?
Of course. Well, I love Soucek. I think he's one of the best players we've got in the squad. He's tenacious. He's got drive. He's got ability. He ticks all the boxes for me, as does Declan Rice, of course. I'm kind of thinking that with the idea of Dec going forward more, perhaps we should try with more like a triangle with Kroll and the other 2, and then see how that works as like a rotating triangle. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's not something that Moyes would do, but it's an option, I think, with those 3 guys.
Yeah, no, I think so, man. Go on, you go, man.
No, I was just going to say, because I mentioned it earlier on, we've done it before when we had. I'm trying to remember exactly. Was it just before lockdown, and then just after we came back from lockdown was when we were doing that kind of midfield trio of Nobes, Deckers, Soucek. I think it was, and I think we kind of just picked up. If memory serves me right, we had just picked up a bit of form because we just brought Soucek in his first game. I don't know if this is right or wrong, but he played against Liverpool away from home, and we performed really, really, really well. And Soucek got injured in like the 60th minute.
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah.
And then that kind of really changed the game because we'd just
Yeah.
come off.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now. We'd just come off the really, was it the bad loss against Man City, where we just handed them.
Yeah.
We handed them the game. It was the
Yeah.
one that was cancelled because of the bad weather, then
Yeah.
rescheduled. We handed them the game. We came up against Liverpool, and at that point, then we just before the lockdown, I'm sure we were doing that kind of 3-triangle process in the middle, and it was working to a certain
Yeah.
extent. But now, obviously, you've now got what you could say is, a new level above where Mark Noble is. And it's no disrespect to Mark Noble. It's just you're bringing in a younger, more enthusiastic international footballer
Yeah.
who can last maybe a bit longer. And maybe there is a case to play the three in the midfield like we've done before.
I think there is. I think there's. It's in the way that we were relatively different when we went to the three at the back, which was a huge step change for us as a club. Really, we haven't played three at the back for a long time until Moyes played the three at the back. I think there's definitely needs something. I like the way Patrick called it an oil change, but there definitely needs something just to. Where last year we obviously we got the loan signing of Jesse Lingard. He was the one who sort of like gave us a little bit extra, something a bit different, spark. I think people have found out how to play. I think people have found out how to play us a little bit. It's about, we concentrate on the set plays and stuff like that. And they've, they know. So obviously, the team, so, no doubt Everton have been, the ones who haven't been on international duty have basically probably been schooled on all our set plays and have been, defensively sound and who they're going to follow, whether it's a zonal or man to man. So we know that's coming. So, I think we need to throw a little spanner in the works, to be honest.
Yeah, and perhaps changing formation might be the answer.
Yeah.
Clive, we've been talking a lot about big potential changes happening for the game on Sunday. Now, well, I should say tomorrow now because today is officially Saturday.
Oh, is it?
Well past your bedtime, Russ. Well past your bedtime, Russy, mate.
Yeah.
But it's it, I mentioned it earlier on. You've got big decisions, and I do genuinely think there may be. Moyes doesn't have a history of making drastic big decisions, and a lot of them, particularly in one game. But I think there's going to be a couple of big decisions.
Yeah,
one at least for this game at the weekend.
There's going to be at least one. There's going to be at least one because he said there's a couple of people come back from international duty. There's a couple of injuries, and and someone asked him the question: did it? Who's not in? He said, "I'm not going to tell you who's not available." So there's going to be a change somewhere.
But he also hinted that Antonio would be available and that he would be essential.
Yeah, so he's going to be firing all cylinders. So it's going to be either right back for sure, if that's because it's either going to be Fredericks is coming in at right back, or or it might be, or it could be Soucek. He's come back from international. I mean, there's only half a dozen guys who've come back from international duty who have played any football. Really,
and then you got goalkeeper, and then potentially you've got because the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues, and I know I'm slightly going off topic here, is that we're leaking goals. Now, a couple of questions to you, Clive: are we leaking goals because we're not getting the protection in front of the defenders that we had last year?
That's a massive shout. Actually, I think there's a lot of there's a lot to be said for that. But also, I think bedding in a new defender in Kurt Zouma is never an easy thing. Although he is Premiership quality, as we all know, and he's been putting in some good performances, in my opinion. But I think that also must have something to do with destabilising the back four, or the centre backs anyway, at least. But yeah, I think that the Soucek Rice dynamic has weakened, if you like, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Not as. Sorry, go on, carry on.
No, go on, Clive. Go on, carry on.
I was just going to say, as it's been said by yourselves and others, that they just don't seem to be clicking like they did last year. They don't have the same kind of understanding of each other's game either. I don't know whether anybody else has noticed that, but it just seems that they just don't have the same dynamic. That's the only word for it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a buzz, isn't it? It seems there's a little spark. It's like they've had it's a bit like a relationship. After a while, the honeymoon period's gone a little bit, and whether they've got to have a dirty weekend away together to get that spark back to Peach and his Viagra, but. It might be something like, and a change, and sometimes a break is a change as good as a rest as good as a change, or whatever like that, and maybe it is. Maybe it is.
And maybe that's maybe this is what's happening with Stell being away in Cyprus. Rest is good for you. Rest is good for everyone, isn't it?
It's great for us, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not
What, a rest from Stell, you mean?
Yeah,
we don't get any text, half the text messages. He probably hasn't very good Wi-Fi, so we he can't watch the shows. We're getting you on the channels, Clive. We've got loads of people. He's not here. That's what I mean.
So he's
Clive,
not in the queue to come on then.
No, he's not. The next question is, I mentioned there about, them coming forward and not getting the protection, but then not getting the protection, does that highlighting that our defence is still weak? Because in theory, it's not just all about the protecting the back four, but the reason why we needed to protect the back four was because we had a weak back four. So we brought someone in who had to do all the legwork, i.e. Declan Rice. So then by doing that, has taken away that problem as such. But then by him going away again, it's now highlighted the fact that we are having errors leading to goals. I just think about the Brentford game, Clive. I'll bring that to everyone's attention again. I think about the goal that Mbeumo scored, the first one. I mean, there was they beat the runner. It was a great ball through. Zuma was late, made the error. Augie was slow, stopped tracking his man, and the fact that the ball was
completely lost him.
Yeah, completely lost them, and the fact that the ball was parried out should never even got back to Mbeumo in that position, and it did. Yeah. Is that then a fault of the combination in the middle of the park because they haven't protected him, or is that highlighting the fact that he is now worried central defensively, and that's why I made the video the other day about talking about Diop coming in, because I wonder if this is the partnership. Pace. My biggest issue with Everton this weekend is pace. Augie doesn't have it.
Yeah, you're right. Bang on right. I mean, Diop's a lot younger, obviously, and a lot quicker, and probably has better stamina. So yeah, he would be a good option to bring in. I think Zuma's almost the complete article. I don't think he needs dropping. I think he needs playing, in my own opinion. But I just think that he needs to find that perfect partner in the back, in the back there. Once we've found the perfect partner for Zuma, I think we will stop leaking so many goals. That's just,
Yeah. I mean, it happened, didn't it? I mean, there was a period of time where we were like, one of the meanest defenses in the league, wasn't there? With Dawson, it just worked that through. Mainly when we played the back three, you had Cresswell and Oggy and Dawson, and those three just seemed to just work and defensively we were just so strong, and then it got to a point where we were almost always conceding the first goal, particularly the second half of last season. We almost conceded the first goal, but then we knew we'd probably win 2-1 or 3-1, but you already got a minus. You're already playing catch up, and I think that's and I think whether it's a case of maybe Moyes is trying to solidify this back, to get this, as Anton said the other day, earlier today, sort of trying to get that sort of defensive solidity back, and he's making Soucek drop deeper and just to try and sort of, not concede to start off with. Oh well. It's a nice thing to be. It's a nice. At the end of the day, it's not like we're still in a situation where we're looking up rather than down. You look at us. I think Tottenham above us with a -4 goal difference, and we've got a +4 goal difference, which is not bad after -4 after 7 games. Dan's
making a point here. We need to consider we have a Europa League game on Thursday and then Spuds on Sunday, both big games that will need big players bang on the ball. And this is the point I'm trying to make, particularly about maybe a big change being made. And I was going to say, I won't save it for the preview. I've already said it anyway. It's not even a big deal. But the point of the matter is, we've got a player in Genk who is 6 foot, what, 8, 9, 7,
Big
whatever.
Paul.
And I
Big
think
Paul.
I think who you really want marking him is probably an Oggy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I would probably give Oggy the run out in the Europa League. Therefore, I would consider putting Diop in for the pace against Everton. And I think that's where I'm trying to be what Moyes is trying to be. I'm not. I'm just Anton, who sits in Scotland, who does a little West Ham stream. But the point of the matter is, you listen to his press conferences enough, you start to dissect what he's saying, you start to try and predict. 9 times out of 10, we always get it wrong. But I'm just trying to think a little bit differently. What's his mind on? Has he got Oggy to go up matching against, what's his name, Onachu or
Big Paul?
Onachu.
Yeah, Onachu, that's the one. Yeah, you've probably heard it enough, Clive, from Stell's Weekly, innit?
Yeah,
he went on about him
every day.
I'd love him to play for us. I'd love him to play for us. But yeah, Big Paul.
Yeah. So
you
know, there's
I mean, I think you're probably right though, Anton. That Oggy's probably more suited for the European games at the moment. Because of the lack of pace and stuff. And the European teams tend to play a slightly slower game than the Premiership anyway. So he probably would fit in better during that kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
And as you said, with Diop, in the Premiership games and perhaps, the local cup games as well, maybe, but also, we can't forget that Dawson's there as well, and he's been quite solid in a lot of his games.
Yeah, I mean he's one that is the sort of the big loser of so it's not losing last, but in terms of his position. Last season he was first choice really. When they're playing obviously 3 at the back, he was like one of 3. Whereas now he, bless him, he ain't now. Bless him. But as you said, he's there and he's relied upon and. As Dan says, we've obviously got Everton, then we've got Europa, then we've got Spurs, then we've got the Carabao Cup on the Wednesday. So there's going to be a lot of games, 5 games in 14 days or something ridiculous like that. So we're going to need everyone. So I know we're talking about Declan Rice and Soucek,
and possibly some of the younger lads as well.
Definitely.
But this is the point. I think the big decision may come in defensively before it comes in the midfield, because I do think what we're going to need is. And I suppose the last question I'll put to you, Clive, unless Russ has got one for you, is: do you think do you think as fans we're overreacting on the Rice and Soucek situation?
Maybe slightly. I mean, if there's, let's just put a number out there. If there's 10,000 people out there seeing a problem, it can't be everybody's imagination, can it? So, that there seems to be a lack of dynamic, or however you want to express it. There just seems to be a change in our central midfield with Rice and Soucek that has in the past produced solid performances from everybody around them, whereas at the moment they're not quite clicking, and they've got other people around them, making mistakes and conceding goals, etc. You can't put it down to just those 2 guys. They're not the be all and end all of the team. Let's be honest. I mean, the team is 11 men, so that they're doing their job, but it just seems that it's not as efficient as it was last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Clive, mate, Ross, you got anything to add?
No. It's been great. It's great. I love the fact we get different people, and obviously Clive contributes such a lot in the chat. It's nice to get him to come on and have a proper, rather than get his point restricted to 200 characters, just to give him an opportunity to come on and have a proper chat. It's been nice. It's been lovely.
Yeah, it really has.
Well,
Clive, it's really
been lovely being on here, chaps.
Yeah, good man.
Yep, and you, and hopefully I'll get to meet yourself in person soon, Anton. And,
it will happen. Don't worry, mate. It'll be in 2022, but it'll be nice and early in 2022.
Brilliant. I look forward to it.
Cheers,
and,
mate. Take it easy.
Russ, a pleasure as always. And you, Anton. Take care, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Take
Come
it
on,
easy.
you irons.
Come on, you
Come on, you
Irons.
Irons.
Come on, you
Yeah, love it.
Irons. Cheers, Clive boy. Love you, man.
Love it. Really cool, man. It's just nice to meet people and see different faces, like you said there, Russ.
Yeah, no,
And
it's,
please,
it's,
I was just
Cool.
going to say to the chat, give us feedback. Like, do you like this? Do you like this style of show? We want the feedback. Please let us know. And I'm actually going to push that again. Let us know by putting in the chat right now. Do you like the idea of having regular different guests coming on, and giving people a kind of 5-minute spotlight and giving their opinion across
yeah,
as
definitely,
well?
definitely, man. Well, it seems that everyone liked, everyone was very, very complimentary of Mr. Clive, which was good. No, it's true. I think, I think it's nice where something like this. Not every time, not every show, but I think sometimes it's nice if we're doing this like we did the Areola versus Fabianski one a few weeks ago, where there's something where there's clearly some people have opinions and stuff like that. It's I think it's really, really cool. And as you said, you can do what Luke did. You don't have to show your face. You can come on
Yeah,
and
it's a
just
good point.
talk.
Yeah.
And so it's almost a bit like like a phone-in show, really. But you can do that, and so it's easy enough to do. And if you
Talk
like
West
the format,
Ham.
you can do it. No.
Talk West Ham.
No, we have to think. So hammer talk, hammer
Talk, yeah.
time, hammer time. No,
Hammer talk,
no.
yeah.
Anyway, back to our masturbating. Yes, but I mean, look, let me show you these stats. I found some stats because you were talking about stats. Let me show you some stats. This is quite interesting. I know it's really awful to see. Let me make it a bit bigger. There we go. So this is Mr. Rice and Mr. Soucek.
You
This
show me how to do
season.
that.
Yeah.
How do you do
And
that?
so what people forgot is so Soucek scored 1 goal this year. Obviously, Declan Rice. So although Declan Rice is doing a lot more attacking, he hasn't scored any goals this season. He's had
In the
3
Europa League.
shots. Yeah, in the Europa League. Yeah, this is the Premier League, obviously. 15 shots compared to 3. So although it seems that Soucek's still averaging 2 shots a game in the Premier League. His shooting success isn't great because obviously 1 off target, 6 off target. You can see. So so although we're saying that Soucek is it's almost like he seems to be slightly more strung back in terms of a bit like a dog on a leash. He's been held back by Zuma in terms of not going outside the box or he's defending. He is still getting forward quite a lot. I mean, I could look at the stats in terms of last season in terms of average shots per game, but he's played 7 games, 15 shots, so that's over 2 shots a game. Dex only had 3, and they played exactly the amount of time as well. So yeah. So it might be, it's just sometimes again it's all about statistics, and statistics can prove anything or disprove anything. But there, to me, it doesn't look like it's as cut and dry, as we think it is. But yeah.
But we do know think something's changed. We do know that for a fact.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know. I just feel like maybe there is an element of maybe overreaction from a fan base, and the media drives that up. And we're part of that. We're part to blame for that.
We're totally part of that, and also we've been totally bereft of anything conversations talking about West Ham for the last 2 weeks. So we are going to find these things to talk about, whether it is a choice of goalkeeper, whether it is dig a 3 at the back or go back to a back or keep a back 4. It's all these, and football is, as I said, football is like arseholes. Everyone's got one. So opinions. Football opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, and so that's why we when we talk about something, we want you guys to comment and give us the opportunity to come on and talk your case. We've had Luke coming on saying something different, we had Pete's coming on saying different, Clive came on, we had Patrick from the States, North Carolina, who's working in a hospital, and he's sure he should be doing something like with the looking up. But anyway, he was talking to us rather than God bless, hopefully bless him. But it's great. I think it's been a good show. It's been a really good show.
Absolutely. So I mean, we've discussed the whole dynamics of Rice Soucek. We've discussed whether or not one should be rested, one should, or we're overreacting. Is Rice doing it for the wrong reasons and are West Ham allowing Rice to do it for the wrong reasons? We've discussed Rice playing at England and how his role won't change for England. We've discussed Krall coming in. We've discussed playing them in a trio of Krall, Rice, Soucek. We've discussed dropping a couple of the players and going into different formations. You name it, we've discussed it all tonight, and that is what this show is all about. What have we got coming up then, Russ? You know what day we're on?
Loads of stuff. We've got loads of stuff, haven't we? As I said, you're going to be sick of us after the next 3 weeks because we've got so many games, so many previews, so many watch-alongs, reviews, play reviews, highlight shows, debriefs, all that type of stuff. And obviously, it starts tomorrow, doesn't it? Starts properly tomorrow with the preview show. You
Absolutely.
and Stato.
Me, Stato, and an away fan, a very well-known away fan. I think it's his 4th appearance on the channel. So
Blue Boys.
yeah, Blue Boys Network.
Yes,
So
Blue Boys Network. As seen on Don Robbie show the other
yes,
day. He was
I
on,
seen that
he was
the
on
other
there
day,
the other
actually.
day. So he's a media lovey now. He's a
Yeah.
media lovey now.
Yeah,
So he
absolutely.
speaks fantastically about West Ham and Everton. He's very, very knowledgeable. I love him. So it'd be really interesting to get his group, because I think I'd be really interested to see his perception of Everton now under Benitez, because I've heard a lot on Talk Sport and Everton fans, and you know, a lot of them really obviously were very anti Benitez joining, but they're sort of warming towards him, and then it seems that he's brought in some really honest players like Townsend, like Gray, not necessarily like, you know, James Rodriguez in terms of you know, star quality, in terms of, you know, star power, but he seems to have got a bit of honesty back, a bit similar to what Moyes has been doing with West Ham. You know, he's got rid of, you know, he got rid of Haller and Anderson, and brought in players who he knew would work his system. So it'd be really interesting. Yeah,
Absolutely.
very good.
Well, that'll be tomorrow evening, 9 o'clock. So make sure you join us then. I'm putting in the chat just now, or what was that?
Just Lee.
Lee, what are we, mate? What are we?
Yeah,
You haven't done it. What are we?
We are massive. We are massive. And I thought I'd show you. I thought I'd show of a picture of me and Dewey Dix today and Flo. There we go.
Love it.
Trying to explain to Flo who this man was quite interesting. Saying,
oh,
so
look at that!
he's
Is in the background. Look at that! It's Dino.
Oh yeah, you can just see his nose. There you go. Just see Dean's nose. Yes, Dino's nose. Yes. So yes, trying to explain to Flo who's this guy. I said, well, why are you, Daddy? Why are you shaking? And I was like, okay, well, it's because he's like a big deal. Why is he a big deal? Okay, trying to explain it to him.
Big deal.
Then I showed her my Hams 11. She got it. She got it.
Yep,
very,
absolutely. Very well, listen, thank you so much for joining us. Please make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We have 2.5 months to complete that target, and I'm really, really confident that we can do it. Really confident we can do it. I just want you to push our channel out there and get us to that 10,000 subscriber marker.
Just to shut Still up more than anything, to be honest, isn't it?
Massive, mate. Massive.
Just to shut him up.
And we are currently on, let's see where we're at. Let's see where we're at before we go. 67 thumbs up. We're looking for more. We definitely could deserve more because it's midnight.
If you enjoyed listening to Clive and Peach and Patrick and Luke, then not necessarily us two, but they deserve a like, because you know it does take, you know, a lot of people come on, you know, does take a lot. I mean, Peach comes on quite a lot, and Luke does a lot of the channel, but people like Clive and Patrick, he's a bit daunting, so they deserve a like more than anything. So there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he's been Russ, I've been Anton. This is the West Ham Network. Join us tomorrow, 9 o'clock for the preview, and just keep supporting West Ham. Yeah, and also, as always with these things, we'd like to thank all of our channel sponsors, and we would like all our members as well. We've over 50. But yeah, Anton's put in the chat, consider becoming a member. It's always good. And as I said, we'd like to leave with a little thank you for them. See you later. Bye-bye.
It's like a family tree.